Hey guys, what's going on? I've been gone for a while, but I'm back and I brought my good friend Marcel, Salvage 1009, with me. Please be sure to subscribe to his channel once this video is over. Marcel, how are you?
I'm doing great. What's up?
Dude, it's so good to have you on. So today we wanted to talk about Batman, of course. We thought it would be interesting to discuss what the next Batman game could be and what it could entail, because right now we're getting Gotham Knights and we're getting Suicide Squad from Rocksteady, and Monolith is bringing us Wonder Woman. But there has not been really even any whispers from insiders right now regarding another solo Batman game. With that being said, the Arkham games are so popular. I'm sure that someone at Warner Brothers is considering either licensing out Batman if they haven't already, or having Warner Brothers Games Montreal have that as a B project somewhere down the line. But I think that it's really interesting because we went from 2015 with Arkham Knight, where really Arkham Knight was a cutting edge new game, and we've come a long way in gaming since then, where there are so many different schools of thoughts in how a superhero game can play out. We had the Batman Telltale games where it was a choose your own adventure style game. We had the Guardians of the Galaxy game. We had the the Avengers game, which was very mixed on reception, but we had it. We also got the Insomniac Spider-Man games, which followed the Arkham formula pretty closely, where you have the main story and the side missions. But I wanted to bring on Marcel and discuss where we'd like to see the next Batman game go. And I think that you sort of have two major ways to look at this. One is that you do something where you completely reinvent the Batman game formula and make a game that's just massive, like think Red Dead Redemption 2, but with Batman in it. Or alternatively, you could do what Insomniac did with Miles Morales, where we get another Batman game, but it's something that's the scale of like Arkham City. And I don't know. What do you think, Marcel? How should they proceed with the Batman gaming franchise after Gotham Knights?
Okay, so if Gotham Knights succeeds, right, there's two possibilities for like a Batman game that I could see in the future. And if Gotham Knights succeeds, I could personally see a Batman game set inside the Gotham Knights universe, because we all know Batman's not fucking dead. Let's just be honest, Batman's most likely not dead in the Gotham Knights universe. We even have that one leak back from 2017 from Scott Snyder that said he was missing. So the story probably is that he's missing, but the marketing is just saying that he's dead. So if he appears again, if he's a playable character, if they actually make him a part of the story, I would love to see that version of Batman come in and try to do something in that world. I would love to see a solo story with him and also all of the Bat family characters kind of integrated inside that story if it succeeds. Now, if it doesn't, I would love to see like almost a modern warfare type reboot for the Arkham games, where you get like a Roger Craig Smith, maybe bring him back and you have him be the main voice for this quote Arkham franchise that's kind of reminiscent of the Arkham games, while it's also borrowing aspects from the combat. It's doing things with the free flow system that we've never seen before, but it's just building upon that gameplay formula that we got and just making it perfect, kind of like what they did with Modern Warfare, where it feels like Call of Duty, but it feels brand new and it feels like a little more heavy. You know, you feel like you're in more of a grounded world. It's something brand new, and I hope that they kind of do that for a solo Batman game. But again, I also think that they should bring in the Bat family, have them integrated. I think that with next gen technology, they could do a lot with the dual play system. That's something that we haven't really heard about before. I don't know if they're going to actually try to bring it back into the Suicide Squad at all, but it doesn't seem like they're probably going to. It seems like that's just a first-person shooter. So dual play kind of seems like out of the option. But if they wanted to do dual play, kind of like what they did with Arkham Knight, where you just bring in a side character, have Robin be in there, maybe do some type of Last of Us story where you bring in Robin and do like the Dark Victory story, where you get to witness Robin's parents die, and then you get to take him in and basically take him onto this adventure of taking down Tony Zuko, where it's more of a personal story. It's not like Joker's about to take over the Arkham Asylum and then he takes over Arkham City and then he takes over Batman's mind. It's like, you know, it's more of a personal story with Robin and Batman, and more of a underworld criminal story that doesn't go too fantastical, but still has those fantastical Batman elements inside the adventure, kind of like God of War. I would love to see something like that. So yeah, I think that would be something that I would do for a Batman game.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that it's very interesting to me how Warner Brothers has tried to make their Batman games in the past, where after the Arkham games, it really, and even with Arkham Knight to a degree, it feels like they're really trying to reinvent uh, what the mainstream views Batman as. They tried to do a Damian Wayne Arkham Knight sequel that was going to be set like 10 years in the future, massive open world. The Court of Owls were going to be involved with that too. And that turned into Gotham Knights, a game where Batman is dead. It's not connected to Arkham. You're playing as the sidekicks. And I think that whenever I've run a poll, whenever I've like heard from fans of the Arkham games, it seems like people would almost rather go back to when he's working with Robin and Batgirl and see that era of when Bruce Wayne was a bit younger and still having some of those first encounters with his enemies. I think that uh, there's many different ways that that could go as well. I could see there being a very linear story, like you mentioned, games like The Last of Us or God of War, where there's like a very direct path to take and where the story is very linear. Or I think that alternatively, they could go more the direction that Gotham Knights has gone, where you get to play as the alternate characters more, where you get to explore the city. And I think that with next generation hardware, there's so much that you can do for either one. If you go a more linear direction, you can do what the Uncharted games did or what the Last of Us games did, where you have these huge set pieces and this very well-paced, bombastic story. Or you could do an open world game that includes the Nemesis system, that includes like an interrogation system where you have boss battles spread throughout the world and you have to go like interrogate their thugs to figure out where the villain is and what their weaknesses are that you can exploit. And then you could like go and customize your bat suit and gadgetry to be like well prepared to face them. And I don't know, you could like put Batman prep time into a game mechanic. That could be cool.
Mm.
Um,
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
absolutely. That'd be awesome.
yeah,
I personally think that with like the God of War type story, it would still be like an open world where you have those side quests and whatnot. And it does
yeah,
have that linear type of like Uncharted set piece type of path where I would love to see that. But the advantage of Batman is that unlike Wonder Woman or Flash or Superman, he has that advantage where he could actually do stories like that. So I think that, there's really anything possible for Batman. If they wanted to do a Gotham by Gaslight game, they could easily do that. Like that's how good they could do. They could literally have like a Red Dead Redemption style Batman Gotham by Gaslight game where he has like a moral system back in the 1800s or whatever, trying to fight Jack the Ripper. That'd be
yeah,
amazing. I don't know how many people would. I mean, how many people would love to see that? That was like already a canceled game before. So they could also do like Earth 2 Batman or Earth 1 Batman and have it be more rounded,
Flashpoint
or
Batman.
have like
Yeah,
Flashpoint Batman, have like, Batman with guns and he's running around killing fucking Martha Wayne Joker or some shit. I don't know. Like there's a bunch that they could do. Like there's literally no stopping what Batman could do in a gaming realm. So it's really up to what WB seems like they know what's profitable. If they go in whatever direction they want to go, they'll go in that direction. But Batman games overall are just they're limitless compared to Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad and stuff like that. Like I think that Rocksteady is doing a good job with what they can do with Suicide Squad because that's completely unexpected with Suicide Squad. You never really expected to fight the Justice League with the Suicide Squad. That's not something that you really would have thought would have been a Suicide Squad game. But they're doing it, and I think that's really interesting. So I think that with Batman, they could kind of go in the same direction of doing something that we don't really expect. That's like outside of Joker breaking out of Arkham or Bane doing something crazy. Like we could actually get crazy stories like outside of the normal canon.
yeah. So with that said, do you think that with the Batman series, like considering that there's so many different games they could make with Batman, do you think that when they do return to the character, and I say when because they're going to, the Batman was a big hit. They just
Absolutely.
greenlight Joker 2, the movie. They're going to make another Batman game. Do you think that they should go back to sort of what they were doing with the Arkham games, where we get one every handful of years that is just this set like story and you have to play all of them? Or should they do something more in line with like the Rockstar GTA Red Dead Redemption idea, where they make a massive game that kind of fulfills every facet of the character that you could possibly want and have that be the Batman game of the decade or whatever?
That's a good question. I think that depending on how they do it, they can have like one development team just doing certain series. Like they could just have like the Arkham series basically, but this, done in a different light. And I don't see them doing one big Batman game every other, decade. I think that's a little too little for Batman. Batman's their biggest character, and in the gaming realm, he probably has made more money for any of, for himself for the Batman character than any of the other characters have from like comics alone during the year that the game came out. So I think that Batman in general is he can do the Arkham series and just continuously have games coming out, kind of like Modern Warfare. They already have a second game coming out. I think that game came out in like 2019 or 2018 or something. They're gonna do something similar to Batman, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I mean, I'd be happy if they do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Batman, like you've mentioned, is just such a rich character with so much lore and so much gameplay potential that hasn't even been tapped into yet. As good as a job that Rocksteady did with the character, I think that there's still so much more that they could do, so much more of his story that they could explore. And it's perhaps like out of all of fiction, I'd say it could easily be in the top 3 like IPs that just has video game potential. And he's one of those
Mm.
characters where I feel like there are so many developers that could do a great job and bring a different take to him. Um, so my final question for you is there a developer in particular that you and I mean within reason, like yeah, it would be cool for Insomniac to make a Batman game, but they're with Marvel. There's no way they're going to do a Batman game. So like, is there a studio out there that's either up and coming or one that is already working on Batman games that you'd be interested in seeing? Just because like Monolith is working on Wonder Woman right now, but I would be interested to see what they could do bringing the Nemesis system to a character like Batman.
So I think WB Montreal is perfect. Like they've already gotten down a formula for Batman, and they can easily just revamp and kind of reinvent themselves as well. Because it doesn't seem like WB Montreal has ever reinvented themselves. They're just making a new game with like the same name and the same brand. They're not really trying to change themselves. So if they want to, they can easily become like the Batman gaming studio, kind of like how Rocksteady was. So
Yeah.
I'd much rather see WB Montreal do that. If man, I don't even know. Honestly, there's a lot of developers that can pick it up. It just depends on who really has the best idea. But right now, I think that WB Montreal has the best chance of being given the Batman IP out of anybody else.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this topic. Everyone, make sure to go subscribe to Salvage. I'll have his information in the description below. And we'll see you guys in the next one.